Well, guys, we're back with another episode of Ask a Pro 479. We had two representatives from Real Property Management, First Choice, Addie and Luke.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for
Appreciate
coming in.
it.
I appreciate it. Justin, thanks for lending me a couple of your people. I appreciate you. Next time we can get you on, man. But I met Addie and Luke through Caitlin, who was also working at Real Property Management. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Heard a lot of good things about you, so we were just excited to have you guys on the show. First property management company here, so
yeah,
that's got to say a lot.
Excited about that.
So you first, Addie, tell me a little bit about your role at Real Property Management. What do you do, and how did you get started in the business?
Yeah, so I am business development manager at Real Property Management. So I pretty much do all the onboarding and initial phone calls with new owners, people that are just looking for, hey, what do you charge? What are your services? What does that include? I'll go out to their properties, give them rental estimates, what we think we can rent their properties out for. Is it a good area? You know, talk about stuff like that. So all of that upfront stuff with new owners is what I handle.
So I sell a lot of multifamily properties, and the most important thing is when you're acquiring a property or thinking about acquiring a property is get in touch with somebody like Addie to make sure your business plan is realistic. Because a lot of people buy properties and they're talking with the seller. Yeah, we want to go from $400 a rent to $500 for one bedroom units, and Addie gets to come out and tell you, look, that's not the market rent.
It's not realistic.
Or it is realistic. Hey, maybe you're a little bit conservative on your numbers, so maybe you can do a little bit better. So.
Yeah, we
awesome.
see both sides of that. So
you get the onboarding calls, but you also get to deal with them after the fact as well.
I do, yeah. We have a transition period where depending on what location their properties are in, they go to specific property managers. Obviously, they're the ones that handle the tenants and tenant placement, rent collections. So while they're transitioning over and learning a little bit about our company, I stay in close contact with them.
That's awesome. So Luke, first of all, one thing you'll learn about Luke, he is from Australia, so he does have a little bit of accent, but it's awesome, man. It is awesome. So, Luke, tell me a little bit about your role at Real Property Management, and how did you get started in the business?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I don't think I have the accent. You guys obviously have that southern accent. This is the Queen's English, obviously, I'm speaking. But my role is actually general manager, and really I wear actually quite a few different hats. So
That's true.
I oversee the property managers, the maintenance team that we have. I do visit with owners also, and actually work very closely with Addie as well. Most of my role is operational, from that sort of thing, operational business aspect. So Addie will deal with our customer base and client base for the most part, and then I sort of back her up in making sure that the operational side of things actually run smoothly.
Yeah. So for you self-managed guys, do you see all these services? Like, just think about, she does the onboarding and the client relations as far as the owners. He's doing he's over the operations team. I mean, you guys, it's a lot of people who wear all these hats. We have, it's some owners who are doing all these things on their own. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me, but some people can make sense of saving the 5%.
Well, if you looked at the numbers, I think you would see that overall, if there's rent increases or, we do property inspections to keep up with the conditions of the homes, I think you'll see that we can actually save you money. I think some people just don't realistically think that, but if you come in and you talk with us, I think we can show you that that's actually possible.
So you talked about some of the offers, the service you guys provide, property inspections. Go a little bit deeper into that, Addie, and then we'll have Luke see if she missed anything. But.
Oh, he will let us know if I miss anything. So, so we are full service property management. So that means we handle everything from professional marketing and advertising of your property. We do an extensive screening process, of applications, which means nationwide criminal background check, credit check, verifying any rental history that they have, and income and employment. So just doing everything up front to make sure that we place a good tenant in the home. Then once we have the tenants placed, we're going to collect that rent, and that's an electronic transfer to our owners.
Awesome.
Those property inspections that we talked about, we talk with our owners, and we can do those on a quarterly or a semi-annual basis. we actually have reports that go out to our owners, so that shows them kind of pictures, gives them peace of mind that the property is being taken care of, and also going through just any preventative maintenance things that we see at that time too. Again, keeping up with the condition of the property is really important. You see people that move somebody in, and then those people stay there for 2 or 3 years, and then somebody goes back in after 3 years, and the security deposit doesn't end up covering the damage that's happened in the house. So even if it's just normal things that happen, not necessarily, you know, just trash the place, but stuff that everyday life stuff that happens. So we're going in and making sure we keep up with those things as they happen. And then just maintenance issues. We have our in-house maintenance technicians, so we take care of everything that we can in-house. We do source out a few things, HVAC and extensive plumbing and electrical. We have vendors that we work closely with there. But everything else, we have our own maintenance technicians to take care of. So,
awesome. And I think that's where Luke comes in.
Yeah.
So for the operations, when you're talking about having an in-house maintenance team, just me personally, I do self-manage my properties. I made that mistake 2 years ago when I got into real estate investing. It's smoothed over now. It's awesome now. But 2 years, it was 2 years of, excuse my language, hell. I made like maintenance technicians basically literally stealing from me. You might as well say, you know, charging me for more hours than what they're really working, and you know, trying to trim an extra 50 to pay the light bill for themselves, that kind of thing. So that's where Luke comes in. I'm assuming with being the general manager role, overseeing those people. What do you can go a little bit deeper into that?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not uncommon. Your experience is what we find with a lot of self-managed folks, particularly even people that just have 1 or 2 properties. They really don't have that experience or knowledge, and that's really why we like our in-house maintenance team. They work for us, and they're guys that we've screened and vetted and we've trained. So when we're sending them out to the field, it's not going to take them 5 hours to change a light bulb. And you're not concerned about a toilet being plunged and how that kind of works. What we've actually done with a lot of our maintenance guys is now is if there's an issue with the toilet and they pull out a rubber ducky because life happens, you've got children, we've all got children, so that happens, well, rather than the owner being charged for that call out fee, well then that's a tenant charge now. So we're really getting a little bit deeper and splitting that up to where instead of owners just paying for plumbing calls, and they see those come through and think, well, that's happens, you know, it's toilets happen. But we go that little bit deeper to go, well, why did that happen? Is it really the tenant's fault, or is it really the owner's fault? The owner's provided a perfectly, you know, working auto flushing toilet, and a rubber ducky's gone down there. So we don't feel that's fair for the owner. So we're trying to really make, you know, even up the table there. But yeah, absolutely. I monitor their hours. I'm looking at what they're doing on each property and actually managing that for them to make sure that we're running efficient. And that we don't have people lagging at properties, you know, like you say, trying to make that extra $50 because you know, they're paid by us, they're not paid contracted out. So, you know, it doesn't do them any good to stretch those things out like that.
So one thing that I've noticed that you guys have talked about a whole lot since we got in here is about people. Like, it doesn't really seem like you manage properties at all. It's like you manage people. You manage owners, residents, maintenance technicians, other vendors. Does that sound right? Do you feel like you manage people more than the actual property?
I think that would be correct. Because you manage all those people to end up taking care of the property ultimately. So it's just like a life cycle. Like the residents pay for, you know, pretty much the operations of the property. Who also pays for the vendors. The owners, you have to, you know, smooth them over. Hey, you know, I don't think we need to be replacing that, but hey, we do have inspection pictures that show you need to pay. You need to get this roof done. If you plan on doing a refinance, they're going to look at that. And an appraisal, they're going to look at that. You want to sell, they're going to look at that. So that's where you guys come in, is just maximizing the value of the property. But it's all through managing people, it seems like. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that, it really is managing people more than, I think, I mean, there is a property management, obviously, aspect of that, but a lot of people narrow in on that and just follow. So they're just looking at the property, they're forgetting about the owner, they're forgetting about all the things that are around it, that actually make the moving pieces to the clock that actually make it work. That's typically why they get frustrated, or they're wondering why their tenants aren't good, what's going on with this vendor, and things like that. So we kind of take that out, I guess.
Yeah. You get to manage all the people. They just look at the property. The owners just get to look at the property, how the overall operation is going. What is my exit plan? What are my next steps? And you get to deal with all the people.
Yeah. Everything in between. Yeah.
So what are some, Addie? I got a good question for you. What are some misconceptions about using a property manager? We talked about a little bit about that before the show. A lot of owners, and especially in this area in the River Valley, they think, I'm saving a few bucks by doing self-management. And Luke talked about it a little bit as well. I think we actually save you money. But how do you guys, what are some misconceptions about property management, and how do you think you save owners money?
Well, I think, as you said, it's a misconception that you're going to end up paying more to have a property manager. Whether that's through we're going to actually get market value for your rental property. Some owners are either going to price it too high because they're connected to it and they think this is my home and it's wonderful, and they're not actually going to look at what the market value is. Or they're just going to price it too low to get somebody in there because it's sat vacant a week and they get scared and they say, let's just put somebody in there. So either one of those things ends up, cutting their money, because whether it sits vacant or whether they cut themselves too short on the rent, they're losing money there. So we're going to make sure that we get the most value out of that rental property while still cutting down on vacancy time, because we're looking around in the same area, making sure that we're competitive as well.
So you're doing market surveys is what the term that they would use. They're trying to make sure it's called a market survey. So Addie and her team, they're actually going out in the market, looking at other properties that are not only managed by their company but other companies as well, to make sure they're competitive. So if you don't know, I've had properties. So it's actually a property right up the street from me. It's called the Belgrove Apartments. It's a property that I pitched to so many investors.
Really?
Hey, you can get $500 a month for a 1-bedroom unit downtown. No, you can't. You can't get more than $400. You can't. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, I've done a market survey. You can get $500 for a 1-bedroom, and you're gonna kill it on this deal. And within 18 months, they got this property completely full. They gutted the thing, got it completely full within 12 to 14 months, and they're killing it. So that's where Addie can come in and cut that curve for you, so you don't have to learn from School of Hard Knocks. Addie can do that for you with the market survey, and you know exactly what your property is worth. So that's awesome. What are some common misconceptions about having a property manager that you've seen on the operation side?
So probably from operational, a lot of people, kind of you spoke to it earlier, where they're worried about vendors, worried about people just over being, expensed out on things. They're kind of worried about that it's going to cost them thousands of dollars for a water heater replacement and all these sorts of things, or things being done unnecessarily. And it's probably, we think, as a saving, is we have owners that really don't have that background. So when there might be a leak at a water heater that can be simply repaired, or the element can be replaced, and for a fraction of replacement cost. So folks are spending this money out there replacing unnecessary items or taking bad advice, and so we're really there to advise them, hey, you don't have to replace this water heater. The element can be changed. It's a 4-year-old unit. Let's do it and just save the owner money. So that's other things where owners, probably a little misconception, that cost more. We actually do save them on the back end of those sort of operational things too. One of the big things, and I don't know if that's really a misconception or maybe a misunderstanding, but we actually assume liability. And so we're really buffering out the owner from the tenant, and a lot of do-it-yourself property managers are really open themselves up to a lot of liability that they just don't understand, whether it's fair housing, whether it's just liability of not carrying out repairs in a timely manner, and these sorts of things, and they're just not aware of those things. So it's very tough to keep up with. There's so many moving pieces, and laws change, and I mean, you sell real estate for and you understand from that point of view, it's there's a lot of moving pieces, and we do our CE class to keep up with those things. So from a property management side, there's a lot of those things that go on as well.
So they're protecting you from getting sued, not having your rents high enough, or they may be too high. You may be too aggressive in the market. And 3, and this is what I see more than anything else, is just not understanding the operations. So when maintenance comes up, you're just too aggressive. You like let's get it fixed right now, let's replace it.
Sure.
Or if you now spent $1,000 on a unit that's renting for, $400 a month, how long is it going to take to recover that after all expenses, utilities, and all that? It's take a long time. You basically canceled out your cash flow for that unit for, I don't know, 3 months maybe.
Yeah.
By slipping up one time and not having an expert who's seen a water heater leak hundreds of times. He knows exactly what to do with it. So that's awesome. What differentiates you guys from other property management companies in the area? What do you guys offer that's different? Well, aren't all property management companies the same? Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's we're all the same.
Well, I think that one thing that we do is those property inspections that we talked about. I know that we do charge for those, and some people are like, well, my current property manager is doing those and not charging me for them. But they're not getting any proof of that. They're not seeing any result from that. So are they really being done? I don't know. But we're going to send that report out, right? So we're going to be going in and making sure that, again, the condition of the home is being kept up with. And I think Luke touched on this a little bit, that if we go in and say that they accidentally knocked a hole in the wall, from moving in, which life happens. We're going to take care of that, but we're going to charge that to the tenant. So we're keeping up with things, not going to charge the owner if it's something the tenant did, and just make sure that the condition of the property stays where it should be. So those property inspections really do help. We've seen them save people a lot of money too. So I think that that's something that separates us from other companies.
Awesome. Luke, what do you think? What do you offer on the operation side that you think sets you apart from other companies in the area? Because there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of property management companies, and they are not created equal. Trust me, they are not.
Yeah, property management companies are almost like mechanics. There's a lot of mechanics, and so you hear someone that goes to have their transmission replaced and it's $5,000, and then they take it down the road and it needs simply a service and a seal replaced for $200, and they're kind of, what do I do this? How do I? And it's almost like throwing a dart at a dartboard, hoping that you're going to hit the right target. So from our point of view, and we did this quite a while back, is actually employing our own maintenance technicians. So rather than using a lot of companies in town, or for the most part, it's just common to just vet that out to vendors. So you're kind of relying on those vendors to give you the feedback about, well, what happened at this property? Was that the rubber ducky sitting in the toilet, or so that's why we like our guys going in there, and they're gonna be honest and give us that feedback. Not only that, they're looking on our work order sheet, so it's got where they've got one animal in there, a cat, a dog. So if they walk into a property and it's got a llama and 16 cats, then they go, whoa, hang on, I need to report this back. And so that happens through our system. So obviously that was a bit of an exaggeration, but it's
seen it, man. Maybe not a llama, but
nowadays, emotional support.
Yeah, so it's really good to have that. Whereas a vendor would just go in there, repair the work, get out. They don't have that responsibility to the owner.
Or familiarity with the property either. So
absolutely.
Your guys have familiarity with the property.
Yeah.
They're at the same property 5 times a week, so they know. Hey, look, the lady next door, she's always complaining about something, and she has no reason to. She's just angry that day. Don't worry about that. Just go do your job, because those guys, a lot of vendors charge by the hour, not by the job.
Yeah.
So they'll go out there and they'll chat with the person next door. They'll sit down and they'll take a little bit longer to get that rubber ducky out. That's awesome. So what kind of properties do you guys manage? Is it just houses? Is it just apartments? What kind of property? What's your kind of?
So our main thing that we focus on is single family properties. That's kind of our forte, but we do have multifamily also that we manage. So apartment complexes and anything from duplexes to a 6-plex or an 8-plex. So it's just a wide variety. We do some commercial as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, I've always heard that single family is it's one of those asset classes that you have to really be careful, because when that one person moves out, you're not making any income. So it's very, very key that you get in there and have a professional team behind you, because if you go 2-3 months without any
yeah.
rent. I mean, that's your whole year cash flow. Point blank period, it is.
Yeah, and we see that a lot with some of our owners that are trying to do it themselves because they don't have their own maintenance technicians. They don't have people working behind them. So somebody moves out and it sits, vacant for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And they were like, well, I just didn't have the time. I couldn't get over there. So like you said, that's cash flow lost.
Yeah, for sure.
We're probably a little bit more aggressive. So before folks are moving out, we're already marketing the properties. So we're having those conversations with when the lease is coming up. We're usually got about 6 weeks out where we're having a conversation with that tenant. Are you staying? Yes. If so, hey, you've been a fantastic tenant, etc.
Yeah.
If they're looking to move out, our goal is really they move out. We have our team go in, and about 2 to 3 days later, we've got the next tenant move in right in behind it. Just like you say, any day, it's really any month, but for some owners, it's almost any day that they don't have income. Can really hurt their hip pocket, depending how they've leveraged financially on those things too. So.
Yeah, that's right. So it depends on how you bought the property. You have to buy it right. You have to finance it right, but you also have to manage it right as well. So you can buy it wrong, you can finance it wrong, and then they can manage it right, and you're still going to lose money. So you can't. And one thing that I've seen just chatting with property managers through passing, on-site managers, high-level people in different companies is they get blamed for investors having bad business plans.
Right.
Like your business plan is terrible. I mean, it just was. You bought the property wrong, and now Addie gets to onboard you and say, hey, look, we're going to do all these things with your property, but that still may not be enough for your specific business. Maybe you didn't plan for any vacancies. So these property management companies are not, they are not the investors. All they can do is carry out your business plan to the best of their abilities.
Sure.
So have you seen somebody who's too aggressive on their business plan and they've already acquired the property, like we have it now, and it's just a terrible business plan, and you kind of had to get the backlash from that.
Yeah, we see that quite often. And so when I do have owners that call and let me know that, hey, I'm looking into purchasing, I haven't purchased anything yet. So I go through some information with them, but I let them know to call me when they have something they're interested in, not after, so that we can see if their business plan is going to make sense or not. Because some people are way too aggressive and they think I'm going to be at 100% occupancy and I'm going to be able to get $600 extra a month or whatever it is from rent increases because I've looked over here and there's 1 bedrooms, but those have been completely renovated and mine haven't, stuff like that. So it's really important for them to call us before they purchase to make sure that all of that's going to make sense for them. And that doesn't always happen, so we do the best we can after that. But
all is not lost, though. I mean, there are times where we have owners that have done that. They've kind of put the cart before the horse, so to speak. So they've purchased that. So we'll sit down with them, and it's time consuming, but it's worth unpacking it all. Looking where there's going to be a plan that's so we'll have a initial 6-month plan, and then we're rolling it out. We're forecasting from there to help them go, okay, look, this is what you've done, but here's how we're gonna set the train on the tracks for you and help you out with that, because there's nothing worse than hearing you've made a terrible decision and then compounding it by rubbing it in and go, well,
it's like a sore spot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. You've just invested this, and it's usually large sums of money. People put their hard work and sweat and tears into an investment that they want to turn around in cash flow, and so we'll do that. But it's usually a bit of a program to where we'll step that out and get them in the right in the right place.
And one thing I will tell you guys, as I'm a real estate agent, and we're gonna a lot of times sell you a property on a pro forma basis. So what we think it could be, not exactly what it is right now. So when you get that property under contract, you're going off, and you haven't contacted Addie and Luke. You're basically going off pro formas. You don't know. You're not in the field every day, so you don't have that market survey to know what the real numbers are. You've got numbers from a realtor who is selling properties on, basically crap, to be honest. I mean, be quite honest, it is. It's just on assumptions. It's not real. So that's why you need to get in contact with them so they can give you the real, what's really going on in the market right now. What are we seeing at the property across the street that we manage?
And we're not saying realtors do a terrible job. Sometimes the information they have is somewhat limited and things too. And then for some folks, they're just not even sure what to ask for. You've been involved in multifamily, so you're asking for rent rolls and things, 12-month income statements and certain things like that. But a lot of folks don't even know really too much about that. They just see the income and they go, okay, this is a fantastic deal.
This looks great.
And we network with quite a few realtors in town as well. So if they need that information, if they're looking for that, we're happy to offer that and partner. And hopefully they'll refer someone to us down the road, and we do the same. We'll refer folks that are looking to sell. We're happy to refer those to realtors as well. That's not our specialty. We know about that and we have ideas, but really our specialty is property management. And then when it comes to the sales side of things, we really want to be handing that off to the specialist,
Someone
which
else,
is folks like yourself. So
Appreciate it. He called me a specialist. Y'all heard that. I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
props.
So I appreciate you guys coming on. How can the listeners and the viewers get in contact with you guys?
So they can reach us at our office, which is at the corner of Rogers and Waldron, the big 2-story Bank of the Ozarks on the corner there. We're in the second floor of that. You can also call our office, our main office. The number is 479-242-0791. So that's the best way to get into contact with us.
How do we bother Luke on the weekend?
So his cell phone, I'm just kidding, I won't do that.
555.
Yeah.
No, but
we won't do that.
I appreciate I appreciate you guys, Addie, Luke.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Yes,
you
thank
coming
you very
on.
much for your
Like they
time.
said, I mean, it makes sense to have a property manager. I mean, a lot of times the market average is about 10%. That 10% you're gonna pay these guys, I mean, sometimes it's like $100 a month. Do you think saving yourself thousands of dollars over the lifetime of your investment is worth $100 a month? Probably. Sometimes it's usually 10%. So get in contact with Addie, get in contact with Luke, have them help you pick the right investment for you. And I appreciate you guys tuning into another episode of Ask a Pro 479, and we'll catch you guys.